Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host Matt, and with me this week is Mike.
What up, son?
Yeah. And Unoclay.
What did you call it? Say it loud enough so everyone can hear. Come on, say it. Chowder.
Chowder! I've just been eating bowls and bowls of chowder, Frenchies. I'm ready to do some podcasts, and I was telling Matt, I just ate like so much that my pants are trying to stretch off my body. I'm like, fuck.
Isn't chowder like soup?
It is, but I ate so much of it, I feel like I'm going to throw up. It's awesome.
Gosh.
Amazing. So there you go.
Out of all the food things that would stretch out your pants, I would not expect liquid to do that.
I am a master of eating way too much of any form of food. It doesn't matter. Like just put it in front of me.
It's okay. You'll pee it out later.
Yeah, dude. No joke. I'll be up like 10 times in the middle of the night. Like, oh my god, that chowder. Oh.
All right. So let's talk about what we've been playing this week. I've actually finally played something. I finally bought Star Fox Guard. Which is I guess you could call it minigame. It's the downloadable game, spin-off thing from Star Fox Zero. And I could have bought that and Star Fox Zero for like $15 more, but I'm cheap and I'm like, forget it, I'm not going to play much of it anyway. So I just went for Guard. And it's pretty much what you get out of the demo is what the game is going to be like. I haven't finished it because I only just started it recently, and luckily, if you play the demo, you can carry over your save file. I don't know if that works with the disc version, but at least digitally you can do that. But it's pretty good. Each level, so obviously I'm speaking in general terms because I've only finished like the first and second planet. Based off of how they're labeling the planets, I'm guessing there's going to be like 5 or 6. So they're based off of the planets from Star Fox Guard. So there's Corneria, Zonus, Titania, and there's like probably 3 other ones. I couldn't really find like an actual guide on this game because I guess no one cares about it. So I don't know how many per
exactly.
That's trash.
Yeah.
I'm just
what?
saying.
But I'm guessing there's about 5 planets, and there's about 18 levels per world, which is pretty good. They're about like 3 to 5 minutes per level, so you're going to get at least about 5 hours of gameplay for like $15 to $20, which is pretty good. And that's the least. So it's probably a little more, depending on how good or poor you are. But yeah, I'm really liking it. So basically, there's 12 cameras on screen, and how it works is on screen you see 12 different viewpoints, and on the bottom screen is your overhead map where you see where your cameras are. And on the bottom screen, you can pick up and move your cameras from whatever point you want, as long as it's on a wall. So you don't even have to stay with the layout that they give you. The layout they give you is just like a pretty good layout I haven't felt the need to change it because they set it up perfectly, but if you want to switch it like mid-game because when your cameras goes offline or something, you can do that, which is pretty cool. But then on the top screen, you have 12 cameras on the TV. And then in the middle, there's one giant one, which is whatever one you're currently looking through. And what you have to do is basically look at the TV and make sure that there's no enemies coming from any of the other 12 viewpoints. So you have to keep an eye on basically around the border of the TV. And then if you want to switch, you have to look down at the gamepad and touch a different camera on the map. And sometimes there's going to be enemies where it'll cover the camera and it'll play like fake footage, and you won't really know it's fake because it looks real until you see on like your map there's an enemy icon there, or if you turn one of your cameras around and look, you'll see like there's a floating TV there and you got to shoot it. Or there's one enemy I've encountered where it doesn't actually appear on the map on the bottom, but you can see it through the cameras itself. So you'll look at the bottom and you'll be like, oh, there's nothing there, I guess I'm good. And then you'll see something moving on the screen. You'll be like, oh crap, there's something there. So there's a lot of cool different enemy types. There's a UFO that'll try to abduct one of your cameras, and you got to shoot it down. And I don't know, I really like it. The shtick of it is that it's a lot about micromanagement, because there's so many cameras. You got to keep your eye on everything at once, and they're short, bite-sized levels. But if you fail, it's not really like a big problem because they're so short. So if you fail, it's like, okay, well, I'll just try it again. There's no harm, no foul. You didn't spend like 15 minutes on this one level taking forever. So I really like that aspect of it. And I don't know, it's a lot of fun. If you like
What
tower
was the,
defense games...
I was going to ask you, what was the price that you paid for the game as a standalone versus buying it with Star Fox?
It's like $20 disc, or digitally. And then Star Fox Zero was on sale for like $35, so it was like $15 more.
Right
I can actually hear myself echo through your computer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, I was gonna say. I thought that was you, Matt. I was like, I can hear you twice.
It's just double the goodness.
Oh,
okay, good. But yeah, I'm just that amazing. But yeah, if you like tower defense games, I know some people are kind of weary of tower defense games, like, oh, they're all the same. You just look at the one section they come through and beat them all up. But because there's so many different entrances and so many viewpoints to look from, it really like changes up how you play the game and makes the gamepad a lot more interesting. I don't know.
How's my sound now? Before I talk and ask a question, am I sounding okay?
Yeah, good.
I just wanted to ask, like, that actually, this is interesting to me to hear you talk about it because I have it, but I'm gonna save it for a little bit since I'm playing Bayonetta right now. But I'm not the biggest fan of tower defense style, and I kind of knew that's what this is, but now I'm a little worried because I was actually pretty excited to play this at some point. So I'll be interested to see down the road, but that, like, games where you have to wait are not something I'm super into ever, like, and if there's like waiting involved in the tower defense aspect of it, I'm going to be like, bored pretty quick. Is it fairly fast paced, or would you say you're waiting a lot of times, things like that?
In the first portion of each level, you're going to like wait a bit for like the first enemy to show up and then a couple more to start getting in, but I don't think it would be that bad. Like, the levels are pretty short, so yeah, like the first 10 or 15% is like, okay, you're gonna wait for a bit for, the enemies to trickle out, but it gets a lot more interesting once you get into it. So if you play a couple levels and you have fun, that's a stupid way of saying it. Play a couple of levels, and you'll get the basic structure of it. And if you think that's too much time to wait to get into the action, then you're probably not going to care much for the rest. But if it doesn't really bother you because it's not too long, then you'll definitely love it. It's pretty easy to tell if you're going to love it or hate it just from playing a couple levels.
Cool. That's fair. I was just curious. You made me think of it when you started talking about it. And just the other day, I was at my friend's house playing a Steam game that I'm not going to remember the name of, but it was something newer that had good ratings, and we started playing it, and it was like 10 seconds in. I was like, wait a second, what kind of game is this? He's like, oh, it's kind of like tower defense. We got to build up our resources here and wait for a little. And I was like, kill it, turn it off. Let's shoot some stuff. It's not like I'm a brainless heathen who can't get into something like that, but too much sitting around. I feel like I'm playing like some RPG where I'm waiting for my buffs to recharge or whatever the heck you want to say.
Yeah.
I'm like, just good grief. Like, come on, I want to play a video game here. I only have like an hour, that kind of thing. But,
yeah.
I am looking forward to it because it seemed like a good experiment. Like when I saw the demos of it. So, neat. Well, cool. $20 sounds like a little high. How do you feel with the price? Like, is that a little high for what you got, or is it like?
I don't think so, because I expected like a downloadable game, and I don't know, I really like the levels, so it's pretty fun, and I'm based off of my own projection, it's like at least 5 hours, maybe 7 hours long, so that's a pretty fair amount. And it's unlike some other games where, you buy it and it's kind of slow to start up or whatever. It's like these are quick, fast-paced levels, so it's like, okay, like, yeah, 10% of it is waiting in the beginning, but like the rest of it is a lot of fun, so like cool. Basically every level is fun to me. So it's worth the price.
It's kind of cool. I mean, when you think about it, would you say, does Nintendo have any other tower defense games in their stable of main games? Like
I don't think so. The other ones are like real-time strategies, like Advance Wars and Fire Emblem.
That's the only thing I can think of. And yeah, they're real-time strategy, like RPG, whatever you want to say about it. But yeah, that's totally different from what I I didn't think about it, so it's interesting since Miyamoto, in spite of Mike's feelings, like usually has creative takes on things. I figured it'd be interesting to see what he would do with that type of game, so cool.
You know what's a good tower defense game? It was in that Legend of Zelda Link to the Past ode, made by Atlas, 3D Dot Heroes. It was a side game just for getting part of the platinum. That was like the one super huge tower defense game I was like kind of fake addicted to, because it was only a mini game, but it was really well done. It was really fast paced.
Which Zelda is it that you're talking about?
It's not a Zelda. It's an ode to Link to the Past. It's 3D Dot Heroes by Atlas.
Right. I remember hearing about it. Right.
Wait,
I think it's a great.
That's basically like
they have a tower defense like mini game, and it's actually
okay.
like really addictingly fun. But Ratchet and Clank did their own kind of take on it. But
it's not all for one. It was I forget the other one.
Assault something.
Something.
Yeah, it's ironic because that's the only Ratchet and Clank game I don't own / have played. Like, I love Ratchet and Clank the series, so it's like I was like, I'm not really too big on it, but it was like Frontal Assault. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Got it.
I know, it's close with it. But yeah. A tower defense. I mean, look, this game was whatever. One of his shitty Planet Giant Robo bullshit. I want to make games for 3-year-olds Miyamoto shit. So it was that bad that I had to put, Slippy on it. So.
And that's a character that's gonna sell a game, Slippy Toad.
Exactly. I'm like, man, I need Slippy in this game if I'm gonna buy it.
I'm telling you guys make fun, but dude, I would have bought. I'm like done with buying Amiibos. They released the rare ones recently have been popping up. I'm not buying them, but if there was a Slippy Toad, be all over it. I'd be like, what? I don't want that rabbit, but I got the Falco, I got the Fox, I gotta have the Slippy right there, So, and then I would have to buy the rabbit because I'd be like, oh, you can't have 4 of them without the 5th, or the 3 of them without the 4.
Yo, Clay, did you ever finish Star Fox Zero?
I got really close, and then I got obsessed with trying to go back and get medals. And then I kind of burned out on it a little bit because I was doing the same levels again and again. I want to give you a compliment because on a former episode you said how like you had like so many of the medals, you'd had like nearly all of them without cheating.
Yeah, dude, trust me, you have to like accidentally do something, and it's like you're so desperate to do it. Like look at.
I'm not even close to you. Is my point. It's a total credit to your gaming skill because dude, I went through a bunch of those levels like probably easily almost 10 times, if not 10 times a piece. And most levels I have 3, some of them I have 4, and one planet I have 5, all 5, and only one.
Yeah,
like,
the way they can make medals though, like,
that's hardcore if you got most of those without cheating, dude. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the one I told you, like I said, at the very end, like I was like, some of them, you just have to look because it's impossible. It was like, I can't remember because it's been like a few months, and I was like, I'm never going to find these last 3 medals. I remember one level I literally had 2 the entire time. I was like, I can't find anything I'm doing wrong. Like, you know what I mean? And it was just like, when you start the level, it's actually all the way behind you. Like, who the hell would start the level and look behind right in the beginning? Like, unless it's a Donkey Kong game?
I bet I found that one because I'm always using the gamepad to do the gyro, and you're like looking all around for like some clue, like some little clue that's like, what am I looking for here? What am I looking for? To the people who haven't played the game, the main attraction, it's like we've talked about Star Fox Zero, and I won't go on about it, but one of the main things that gives the game, if you're going to like it, replayability or enjoyment, is the fact that you're in fact supposed to replay it a lot. You're supposed to go through the levels again and again and again, looking for these medals, and they're really cleverly hidden a lot of times. Like, you feel really good when you find one on your own that you're like, like there was this one little alien that looked a little different on the side, and if you shot him, then he did something, gave you a clue, and then you had to like do something else, and it's like solving a shooter mystery almost, like on the fly. But it's like, it's hard. I mean, it is hard, and so I didn't finish it. I'm gonna go back to it at some point because I had Venom. Well, I don't want to spoil it for people. I had some of the secret levels unlocked that you don't know are on the map.
You're not spoiling it. The planets are from like 20 years ago.
I know it's from like way a little while ago, but people listening might not have might be on the fence.
I meant because it's based off of Star Fox 64, so it's like these planets are 20 years old. That's fine.
Sure. I
mean, it is Star Fox 64, and it's not. Like, spoiler alert if anyone wants to mute it for 10 seconds, but like Asteroid Plains, that's the second level in Easy Route 64, and it's actually a secret level in this game.
Oh, nice. Oh, I think I don't know if I have
Wait,
app.
no, wait, Clay, I don't want to make you happy, but it is not as cool, and it does not have the rainbow secret alternate path like in 64.
Bummer. No,
I
I'm
know,
looking
trust me.
forward.
I was like hoping for that in HD, and I was like, man, I can't wait to get a seizure and be like, what the hell's going on?
No, I didn't finish it yet, but I was kind of saving it, and then I kind of, like I said, I burned out a little bit. I played the tank level so many freaking times. I think I just burned myself out of the game. I was just like, Jesus, this level's hard. Like I just kept like
After that
dying,
level, after that
dying,
level.
and dying, and it was like just trying
Well,
to find those
the tank
medals.
is just not well made. Like, you know what I mean? And that
Yeah,
level, that was one of my last planets. That was the ones I had to like start looking. I was like, dude, I can't figure out these last two medals. And I was
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
do this. And it's like, oh wow, I feel stupid because I kind of felt like I should have did that, but at the same time, there's no way on earth I would remember to do that.
I feel I feel you. Well, yeah, anyone who's listening, like if you're not convinced yet, whenever you see Star Fox Zero on sale, I think it's worth it. And you can hear Mike and me going back and forth about it here. It's like, it's
not
a
a bad
reasonably
game.
good
It's not.
game. It's just flawed. It's a reasonably good game with flaws. That's what I would say about it. But we've said
Like
it.
I liked it. I hated it at first. Like trust me, I hated it. I like threw it away, and then I was like, like 2 weeks later, I was like, yo, this game's not bad. I got like the hook. You'll find it. Like everyone finds that little niche in this game. Like I'm guaranteed you're gonna find it.
And the boss fights are the thing I try to sell it to people. I'm like, watch a video of the boss fights. They're sick. They're like classic Nintendo boss fights in a lot of cases, where it's like this huge boss with some crazy like kind of like Achilles heel that you got to figure out, or just like really good, really well made boss fights. That's what I always think of when I think of the game. I'm like, especially the tank level and stuff like that. It's like really, really kind of good set pieces where you get into it and mix it up, and they're not too hard, just fun. Kind of fun boss fights. So anyhow.
Cool.
Anyhow.
So since you're talking about games you've played, why don't you go and talk more about what games you played this week?
Who?
You.
Sorry,
Me?
Unoclay, yeah.
I didn't play too much new this week. I can be very short and to the point. I played more Bayonetta. Mike, we know how you feel. Matt's played it already, and I talked about it last week, so there's not much new to say. I really like it. It's not as hard as I thought. I was expecting it to be even more brutal.
How
I
far
actually
are you
think,
in the game?
I don't know, but I have played pretty
like
many. I'm on
chapters
Bayonetta 1. It's Bayonetta 1, and I'm in like chapter 6 maybe.
Okay.
So I think I'm pretty far along is the impression I get, but like, I've got, I like my level wrap up. Let's put it this way. My level wrap up, like the statue you get that tells you how good I suck. Like I get like a stone statue every time, and then I got like one above stone one time. But like, I'm pretty sure I could go back at this point and like clear out the early levels and do much reasonably better, especially now that I'm powered up and stuff like that and understand the mechanics a lot better. But, I think I went into it expecting it to be almost as hard as like Wonderful 101 was, like, which was glitchier and less well made. And so I think hard for the wrong reasons sometimes. Not saying that game was impossible, just saying like I had a harder time scoring high on it. And in Bayonetta, on like stage, whatever you call it, like verse, I think they call it like verses, like at each section of the chapter is like a verse. Like verse for verse, I'm getting like silver, gold, and platinums, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Whether or not that's really good, and later I'll be laughing at that when I'm even better at the game. But I've barely bought any power ups because I'm trying to kind of be pure and like learn the game's mechanics from the ground up, and like really get a hold of it. I mean, some of the button combos are just freaking insane, and I'm never gonna learn to do X plus A, then time it, then hit X again, then hit dodge, then hit X to do the like crazy moves that you can see in the menus. But I'm like, but the lower level stuff, the Street Fighter level stuff, I'm like, okay, I can get this, and I'm really enjoying it. I really like the plot. I really find it like to be a visually stunning game, especially on Wii U. And I'm like, I'm loving it, continuing to love it. I'll probably still be playing it next week because at some point I'm going to start dipping back and like trying to show off like in the early levels, now that I've got the timings down and stuff. So that's really all I played this week. Didn't really jump on anything new. So
it'll definitely get harder. Chapter 6 is, well, I don't want to spoil how long it is, but you have plenty of levels left to go.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So I'm glad to hear that.
It definitely gets tough at the end.
Okay. I expected that. I was wondering because I was like, some of the areas, almost like the last two worlds, like 5 and 6 or whatever, chapter 5 and 6, I got to like a fight in the middle of the level where it just killed off all 5 of my lives. And then you know how it is. It's like you can only rank up 5 deaths. And then after that, it's just like, you suck. clearly you've died 5 times. We're not even going to count them after this. And there will be like this one boss fight where they're really pushing you to your limit, like of the level of your skill at this point, you know, and you're like, okay, like, all right, now I'm just going to like, I have to learn how to fight 2 of these leaping dragon creatures at the same time, you know, or whatever. And then the next level is like 2 of them plus 2 giant angels at the same time. And you're like, oh shit, you know, so I'm like not worrying about it too hard at this point. It's hard enough. And like I said, I didn't buy a lot of the best power ups, I think, you know, so I'm just sort of self-handicapping. So at some point, yeah, I'm going to probably cash in a bunch of Halos and like just get all these crazy powers all at once or something like that. But yeah, great game. Funny. It's not as sexy as I expected. I thought everyone was talking about how like dirty it is. And I was like waiting for her to like start taking her clothes off and rubbing herself on the screen or something. And it's like,
No.
I was like, okay, I think this got oversold to me in the sexy department. I was like, it's sexy, but it's not like pornographic. Yeah. At least not the stuff I've seen so far. It's like
I was lied to. I demand a refund.
Yeah, I was kind of like, dude, I was hoping to get a little something from this here, but you know, I'm like, all right, well, you know, there's like some kiddie porn here. No, it's fun. It's like, it's funny. Like it's comically sexy in a way that just like gets away with it, but like not like super dirty. Like I guess I just had the wrong impression of the way people made Bayonetta the character sound to me, that I was like, oh, I thought she was gonna be like stripteasing and stuff, and it's like, no, she's like acting titillating or something like that. You know, but I like it a lot. So that's all I really played new this week. Nothing else to really mention. So, I wanted to mention there is a good sale on the eShop for a game that probably nobody played called Unepic, Epic, and I had talked about it previously.
Yeah.
And it was in the eShop earlier, and I saw it was like, I think it's like $6 right now, and it's a pretty cool RPG adventure, like D&D meets platformer adventure game, and I really liked it a lot when I played it. It's totally worth $6, so it's something to look out for if you want to take a look at it and see. The advertisements make it seem almost a little corny, but it's a really good game with like lots of weapons, lots of like mazes, like lots of cool boss fights, magic, all kinds of good stuff. So neat game on sale right now. So
cool. Yeah, I think they're doing a eShop sale or something. I forget. I logged into the Wii U today and they said something about a sale, so just check. There's probably a sale on something. Besides just the one game, I mean, like, site-wise. But enough that. Mike, what have you been up to this week?
Back on my Overwatch flow. Alright, so freaking, I hated it. Now I love it again. I only hated it because I got shitty-ass teammates. But, freaking, yeah, so, like, I'm super addicted. You guys should get on it. You guys are missing out. Get on the PC. That's all I gotta say about that.
I actually at my friend's house this weekend. I was at my one friend's house for a birthday party, and he has like this ultra man cave, like where he wanted to show off like his setup, and he does have like, you know, a plus 50-inch TV with like wraparound couches, and it's pretty sick. And he's like an Overwatch junkie, so he was like showing off to us, but I didn't even get to play it because he's the kind of guy that's just like, look at this game, check it out, look what I can do. Okay, look what I can do. Okay, all right, let's go do something else. And you're like, that was cool.
Yeah, I know those kind of guys. It's like, all right, man, well, I want to see it now. Give me the controller. Nah, you saw it. It's good.
Like,
but
let's go back downstairs to the party now. Okay. And he's like, he's a good guy. He's just like, it was like funny because I was cracking up. I was like, well, I didn't really get to play it, but all right, see ya.
Here, let me show you up in front of your face and then not give you a chance to redeem yourself.
Yeah.
Look how great I am.
I just watched him jump around. I was like, all right, cool. Looks cool, dude.
And then other than that, Matt's been bothering me for 2 years. I finally played some Guacamelee.
For good reason.
I still don't like. I still don't like Guacamelee on my chips. All right, I'd rather like my order goes cheese, then I think pineapple salsa, then creamy spinach, then shitty guac. All right, just ruined meals. It's not that bad as a video game. All right.
Did you really say I really don't like guacamelee on my chips? I hope you say that at a restaurant next time you're there. You're like, no guacamelee, and they're like, what are you talking about? You're like, you know, guacamelee.
Come on,
shit.
Yeah, come on. Not guacamole, guacamelee, son. They're like, yo, wait, Super Smash Bros. Melee? I'm like, no, you just don't get it.
That would be the coolest waitress ever.
But yeah, so the game's actually really awesome. I think it's like a Metroidvania brawler. It's like there's actually like overworlds and people you can talk to and do like quests, but like when you have to go to temples, it's kind of like Samus style, and you get to hit choose you statues and you get your power ups from them, and and they're the exact same thing as a Chozo statue, but around the game is actually there's a lot of references to other games. Like it's like I was walking by and I saw like a Destructoid like promotion, and I saw it's like, oh, Los Hermanos wrestlers, and it was Mario and Luigi like as giant wrestlers and stuff. And they did like I was looking around, maybe because I'm playing the PlayStation Vita version. No, yeah, I'm playing the PlayStation version. You know, Matt gave me the PC code. I gave that away in the contest. Freaking I saw Grim Fandango. I saw he was like, oh, he's missing, blah, blah, blah. And there's like so many of these references, and it's like kind of clever, and the writing is really good. It's actually kind of like mature, the story. Like, there is death, there is like, you know, like all this other shit, but, I mean, it's like in a cool, lighthearted way, where like you wouldn't notice it, like if you were, if you were a parent who just kind of looked over the shoulder. But, yeah, it's funny, it's cool. I really enjoy it, you know. It's a quick game. It's not that long. Like, I'm just looking to obviously like finish it 100% before I go on. But like, I really like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing bad about the game.
I got so close to the end of that game and never finished it. You make me mad at myself. Like, I really loved it. And it's like how good you can get at it. You know, you can get really good at brawling and using all your power-ups and stuff like that, you know, once you're toward the end. But I'd have to like play it again from the beginning, or at least like relearn it all, because now I barely remember how to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. I mean, you're playing Bayonetta, so like once you like start playing again, you're like, oh, okay.
Right.
The only downfall of that game was the platforming. There's some like really precise but awkward like platforming you have to do near the end, where you gotta like switch between like the two worlds to jump from like one side to the other and all this other stuff, and it can get kind of annoying. But other than that, yeah, it's an awesome game.
That's probably where I quit. I think that, like, I mean, I didn't think it was awkward. I just thought it was hard, and I think I'd played so much of it that I've started to get into a bad habit, like that I used to never do, which is like get really close to the end of games. I'm realizing, and like not finish it, not because it's too hard, just because I think I like burn out a little bit, like, and I'm not like really enjoying it anymore or something like that. I think that one, like, I loved it, and then I got to that part. Really, I know I must have been close to the end because I had like every power up, everything, but. Yeah, those sections were a little weird. Like, you have to jump back and forth between the two worlds, like, really fast, like, mid-jump and stuff like that, you know, but, yeah, good game.
So, Mike, I was curious. When I played the game, I'm a scrub when it comes to fighting games, and that game made me feel like I could pull off, like, crazy combos, like if I was some expert and not some scrub that I am. So, is someone who...
maybe like Mortal Kombat's the most akin to it, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of more button combos. Like, this game, the way the fighting kind of reminds me more of that Ninja Gaiden Bayonetta kind of style, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you ever played any of the Spider-Man movie games, it's like, oh yeah, you could do, you know, XXY forward A to get like whip throw or something like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
it made me feel more sandboxy than fighting game.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, like, is you as like a fighting game pro, how did the, I guess, fighting mechanics feel to you?
Like I said, like I mean, to me, this game literally felt like Spider-Man 2 fighting, which is a great movie game, one of the best movies, and just a really good game. But it was like, I think the fighting, like I'm playing on hard mode, like I like the dodge aspect. I think that's really cool, and a lot more 2D and a half or whatever Metroidvania should do that. And I think that was awesome. And there's some moments where I'm like, yo, I'm being stupid. Like, you actually have to look around the entire screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the game is different. It's not like, you can't look at it as like a FGC game, fighting game community that's like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta look at it more of like its own kind of style where it's like, I mean, like, right, yeah, Clay, like, you playing Bayonetta right now, you should have no problem playing Guacamelee. Like, I'm dead ass, you know?
I like I said, I was pretty sure I was really close to the end because I was getting to some of the challenges where, no spoilers for you, they're just stacking tons of enemies in certain patterns that you can tell it's almost like the boss rush mode, you know, type thing. You know, you're like, all right,
definitely.
This gotta be near the end here. You know what I mean? Like, you're throwing everything at me at one time, you know, and I can still kick their butts, you know, so I should get back to it. That game was hilarious. It's like the combos I know what that's great. It's funny Matt puts it that way because the game is balanced just right that it's fun, but you do feel like a hero. You're just like, bam, I just hit you like 7 times, fool. You know, and like dropping people all over the screen and like going into slow motion and whacking people. It's made to be fun, and that's a mark of a great game, you know. So it's cool you're finally playing it. It does seem like something you would like now that I think about it.
Yeah, I love the.
Oh,
Anyone?
I know. Other than that, freaking. I don't know. I still my list ever grows, but at the same time it doesn't. Which sucks because this Friday is Paper Mario Color Splash, and I'm like, oh crap, I need to get that game because Paper Mario. No matter how bad Sticker Star was, I still have to get it.
So since we're on the topic, let's talk about that. It's so interesting. This game, I feel, has gotten the Super Mario 3D World treatment, where the first trailer comes out and you're like, okay, well, this either looks like crap or really mediocre, and then after a couple of trailers, like, it actually starts looking good. Now, I'm still not going to buy this game because I know it's not an RPG, which is what I want, and I know the gameplay is going to be, like, watered down, but everything else around it, the visuals, especially the writing, it's tearing me apart because I'm like, the writing they basically got like everything right except the gameplay. So I'm like, oh my gosh, the writing is actually like cool. It's not some stupid Sticker Star crap where everyone's generic, and they showed off, I think, a couple of different interesting characters, and the Toads aren't just flat out Toads. They have like costumes and just the writing itself. Like, I see people posting pictures of it on Twitter, and I'm like, it hurts because it looks so good from that. But then I know I'm going to be disappointed, so I don't want to spend my money. But I hate it.
At least they put some time in the writing versus Sticker Star. Right?
Yeah,
that's. Like, hey. It's like, well, what? No, that's it, dude. Just hey, can you go get Bowser? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm at least glad to see that they're listening to some feedback at least when it comes to that. Maybe it's not all of what I would want, but it doesn't seem like they're just throwing it out there like I would have expected it to be, like just a Sticker Star 2 kind of thing. It looks like they're actually putting some effort into this, which is
they're like,
which is really good to see.
They just didn't want to make it as bad as Sticker Star, but they're like, you know what? Like, it's still gonna be worse than every other Paper Mario. But it's kind of like, I feel like they're fake rebuilding. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It seems like it'll be like another Black Sheep, the way Super Paper Mario was, where it's like, okay, there's some things I'm not crazy about, but there's also some cool things about it.
What do you mean, like 3D World or 3D Land? Which one did you?
3D.
Like, what do you mean by
3D World? So when Nintendo first showed off Super Mario 3D World, I think it was in August or September or something like that. It was pretty mixed reviews from people. Like, no one was really feeling it. And then once like the October trailer came and like actually showed off some cool stuff, like people started actually getting interested in the game. They're like, oh, this isn't like the mediocre nonsense I thought it was. They were just holding back for whatever reason. So I think it's just gotten that treatment where like the first trailer they showed off of Color Splash was not very good, and then like some of the more recent stuff they've been showing is like actually interesting. So just that.
I mean, okay, that makes sense. I mean, I didn't know. I don't look at trailers for games I want. So I don't know if people didn't want that. But I mean, 3D World was awesome, and it looked awesome from the get-go. So
yeah.
I with the funny thing is with these games, I just listen to you guys. At this point, I have no interest anymore because I'm so sad about them never being that good. And so I'm just like, I just listen to you guys. I don't even watch the trailers or anything. I just figure if anything good is going on with that series or anything like that, I'll just hear you guys talking about it. So
that's fair. I mean,
you know,
I always say to Matt and Eli, like, we're suckers. I'm gonna buy it into the game no matter what. Like, it's gonna be like, bro, this is the worst Mario game ever. Like, what is it? It's Galaxy 2 meets Sunshine? And I'll be like, what? And then I'll buy it, you know? And I'll be like, I still played it, but I mean, F you, Nintendo, but I still bought Like,
Man, I hope
you know.
we're still doing this podcast when they release the news of the HD Sunshine remake, because you're gonna have me like doing a little circle dance, like cheering, banging my head on the desk with joy, like I'm just getting crazy on this end, and you explode in the other direction. I'm like, that's the number one Nintendo game you asked me like that needs an HD remake, because it's a good game packaged in a wonky engine. If they fix the camera and fix some other stuff with it, like it would be amazing, like if it got the Zelda remake treatment. But I have to save that discussion for another day someday, right?
I mean, the only way that I could argue that is if you said that was either like a Super Mario World, but that can't ever be done in 3D, or just Super Mario 64. There's no other 3D Mario game that needs to be remade. Galaxy's still fresh, alright?
They could do Super Mario 3D World in like a 2.5D thing, so they're like 3D models, but it's still a side scroller.
Oh, you're making me get crazy in my head. That would be amazing.
As long as they ditch the new Super Mario Brothers look, because that's old and I'm sick of it, and just throw it in the dumpster, please.
It's got to go. I can't agree more. Like, I can barely play it when people make levels in Mario Maker with that look, because I'm like, I know it's got the cool wall jumping mechanics, so it's a completely like unique version, and it's gonna be fun, but gosh darn it, that's got to go, and they're never going to get rid of it. You know it. You know that NX is going to launch with a new Super Mario Brothers. You know, like so it's what it is. But I hear you.
Who knows? Because it didn't really sell hot on the Wii, and they thought that would have pushed the thing. So
what are you talking about? Are you kidding? New Super Mario Brothers? That was like that. Oh, New Super Mario.
Yeah, that's what I meant. No, like the series in general obviously sold well. I meant like they put it on Wii U, and they're like, "Oh, this will push the system," and it went. So maybe they might think kind of
because New Super Mario Bros. Wii was so bad. Okay, New Super Mario Bros. For DS was super good. The Wii one was so bad it killed like the entire series, and then they're like,
sure
okay,
that made it
well
more
here's
popular. Besides, like obviously the DS did
people
well.
wanted like tools because the Wii, everyone had a Wii. It's like, all right, but that game is so bad, and I keep telling myself I'm gonna replay it, and I just don't because I don't want to play that game. But and then they made the Wii U one, and then they made 2, didn't they? It's the opposite because 2 was the gold rush. 2 is so good, like it's such a good game. Like to be honest, like that's probably my favorite New Super Mario.
Is it
like,
because you have? Is it because you have OCD like I do? And you just want to collect the coins, or are the levels like actually good?
Well made, it's just great. It has so many secrets. It's quick. It's fun. They brought back they freaking brought back the leaf, which is the most important thing. All right. So I recommend everyone to play that game.
I'm not just to address like that. It was like a failure. Like on Wii U, just like looked up the charts just now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sold 5 million copies worldwide and 2.5 million in America. So I would hardly call it a failure.
It's a top 5 Wii U game, I think. Selling
I was gonna say it wasn't a failure. It's just that like if in terms of the other ones in the series, sure, because the one on Wii sold 15 million in America alone, and the one on DS sold like 12 million. So I mean, it's like it was. Yeah,
it's not memorable. It's not memorable.
Okay. Yeah, that's 5 million definitely isn't horrible, but I thought it would have been lower than that, but I'm wrong. So there's poop on my face again.
No, man. You got to think about it in the sense that we have no games on the Wii U, so it's like, oh my god, New Super Mario Bros. Wii U, I need it, so because there's nothing else I'm gonna play.
Yeah, but I mean, the Wii U only sold like 12 million units, so it came as a surprise. This sold half of the lifetime sales of the console, and it was a launch game, so I didn't expect it to sell that many units. I'm like, who's buying it?
Yeah, that's what they call the attach rate. That's like an incredible attach rate. In fact, it's like almost half the owners of the system own that game.
Yeah, and that was at the beginning. That was at the launch.
Sure.
So that basically meant like when it came out, basically everyone bought it.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
It's insane.
True.
So I think we should move on. 2 things. If you're hooked on Pokemon stuff and whatever, you can get Hoopa, which is one of the like legendary Pokemon. You can get it through a mystery code in the X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It's just the code is 2016 Hoopa. I'm only bringing it up because they kind of like stealth released it. So they have like a Pokemon coming out each month for this entire year that you can't catch on your own.
Wait.
So,
I
and this
got-
one
I got
wasn't
a
part of the
question.
list, so just thought I'd mention it. Yep.
All right, I got an important question for every Pokemaner out there.
Mhm.
Like for every guy who. Okay, you know how Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow is re-released? Can you get those Pokemon in the new one?
Yeah, you can transfer them over, but it isn't going to be live until like January.
Okay, so wait, how does that work though? Because like you're more than likely just gonna have the emulated game on your 3DS. You know what I'm saying?
I think you have to put it in Pokemon Bank. So if you
But
can
there's
get a
no
free
how.
trial.
Wait, how does that work? Because you're playing the old game like through like a fake Game Boy emulator thing.
Yeah, but they like retrofitted it so they could have those features work. They also made it so when you do wireless play, like obviously you don't have an infrared light on the 3DS, so they obviously tweaked it so certain functions could work, like playing locally via wireless or Wi-Fi or whatever, which they didn't have before, and things like that. So they definitely messed around with it a little.
Okay, that makes sense. But you know, I've been trying to figure out. I can't transfer a Charizard from my Game Boy to like the 3DS games. I think the block comes in from like Diamond Pearl or something like that, or like the first 3DS game. Like I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, bro, how overpowered would my Charizard from my Game Boy Red be if I could bring him all the way over? But I think it. I was trying. I was like, all right, if I Game Boy this, then I can do that to the SP. And then I think where the problem comes is SP to DS. There's no link cable, so I cried.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you can't. I don't want to say I think you can't do it because I think there's something that actually stops you.
I wish I could play the Eli here and like jump in and be like, guys, I will tell you how to do it, and
Yeah, I know.
like this easy, and I did it 5 times on 4 different systems, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to offer any insight here. How like I always thought, yeah, like not listening in on the world of Pokemon like you guys and sounding like a total noob. I always thought, wasn't there something to do with like the early Game Boy versions? They were blocked, and then you guys all had to start over from like a game later, like in the series. Like you can't get your characters off the Game Boy versions or something like that. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I think it's the original like Red, Blue, and Yellow. You can't trade to Silver and Gold and Crystal, and like obviously because of that, if you can't do it that, then obviously you can't transfer it further. But I don't remember.
Yeah,
you'd have to look it up.
I feel like I've heard that somehow, and you know me, I'm the non-Pokemon guy here, but I feel, didn't they remake those games on a newer system that then you could remake, replay the game and get the characters back on a newer, like on a re-release of the game on a newer system? Isn't that the case? Yeah. Or am I just completely off base? I have no idea.
I think this is what happens. I think in Generation 3, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, there were some different stat changes, so you couldn't transfer the Game Boy games to the Game Boy Advance one, but they remade Pokemon Red and Green, technically, for the Game Boy Advance, so I think you could do it that way if you played it like from the remakes, but I don't think if you have like the original Game Boy ones you could actually transfer it. I think that's what the deal was, because I remember talking to Eli about if they would transfer the Virtual Console Pokemon over, and he was saying there's different things they did with the stats, or maybe it was from a Game Explain interview, whatever. I heard it from someone that on the original ones there's certain stats, and then in one of the future games it changes, so you couldn't really transfer them. But so in your case you're shit out of luck. But if you played on the remakes of Red and Blue and Green or whatever, then you'd probably be able to do it.
All right, well, we'll see. That'll be my goal.
Okay. And then one other thing was, did anyone else buy any of the Ocarina of Time amiibo? I just thought I'd bring it up because I saw someone post up today like, oh, it's on Best Buy, hurry up and get it. And I bought the Ocarina of Time link. So just wondering if anyone else bought them.
I did
not. I haven't bought my boy yet.
I did not. I still don't have Toon Link from Smash Bros. And I play as him a lot. So I feel like I'd have to get that first before I got anything more newer. I saw them; they look kind of cool, but frankly, with like half my Amiibo collection still boxed up and not even opened yet, like
Yeah.
I'm not really in the market where I need more. I'm sitting next to a crate of them, like right here. It's like, okay, like, you know,
Just
I
reach
only get
out.
Amiibo. No, I'm like Clay. I mean, not even. I only get Amiibo when it's like. I only get Amiibo when it's like, well, I win one from a tournament, like as a side event, or if I go, man, I actually like this guy and I want it. Like Ocarina of Time Link will probably be my next minimal buy. You know.
Yeah. I can
That
just I can just
if
see
I had
Unoclay put his arm in elbow deep in the crate and be like, "Which one am I getting today?" It's like, "Oh, great, me fighter."
well, it's kind of an
Tosses it.
exaggeration of crate. It's more like
I know.
a decent sized box, but like the one thing, like, I might have talked about this on here before, but like me and my wife have gone around about it. I love her to death. She's my best friend. She just cooked me some corn chowder, Frenchie, and and but she doesn't like a lot of knickknacks around the house and stuff like that. And like there's tons of them already, like so many, it's insane. And like, you know, the living room is, we don't have like we have a decent sized house, but our rooms aren't very big. And like, so my problem with my Amiibo that's really actually hurt my interest in it is that I have nowhere to put them. They're like all just kind of scattered around. They're not like in a cool display or on a shelf or anything like that. And she just kind of put her foot down. Like she does not put the foot down a lot. Like trust me, I can tell you stories. My wife lets me do whatever I want practically all the time. But she just like, she was kind of like, no. And I was like, what do you mean no? I don't know what that word means. Like, can I get a translation? Like, and she's just like, no, I don't want toy shelf in the living room. And I'm like, come on. She's like, there's already a whole wall that's like video games and electronic stuff. And you have like an analog tape deck sitting over there and you got all this crazy stuff, dude. And I was like, you know, so it's like, I've got like 10 Amiibos just sitting around the living room. And then it's like, every time I open one, I get a little worried that she's going to freak out. And then I'll like kind of sneak it into the collection. It's like, now it's like kind of like, there's so many, there's like, I don't know. I'm like stuck. Like, I can't wait that when we get a new house, when I get a new house, the big plan, this is welcome to married life, guys, giving you tips for the future. My big plan is that she loves to cook, and I'm going to promise her we build the kitchen of her dreams, like spare no expense, you know, even if it's something froofy, like cheese grater or something that she wants is crazy and costly, because no matter what, I'm going to design the living room, and you better believe there's going to be like Amiibo shelves everywhere.
I thought you were gonna say you're gonna have a whole Amiibo room. You just walk in, it's like your trophy room, but just Amiibos.
Now you're just getting crazy, man. I don't need to go there.
Yeah, man. Come on. Now you're just talking.
We're just going to have like a shelf for my NES, my Super NES, for my Virtual Boy, for my Rob, for my every Nintendo console ever of all time, except for the N64 because I never want to play it again. So like, you know, like basically, yeah. So like that's like my big plan is like, I'm going to be like the kitchen of your dreams, baby. Meanwhile, I'm over here like making 3 shelves for my freaking toys and stuff. So that's my big plan.
It sounded like they're your version of garden gnomes. You're like, I got them spread out across the house everywhere, in this room and that room.
Man, I never thought of that. They pretty much are like nerd garden gnomes. I never thought of them. Are good luck little charms. I'm like, oh, look at that guy, he's so cute.
What is that supposed to mean? I don't get it. Like, what are garden? Like, I don't really have lawn. I'm from New York. I don't know what nature.
You're like, I don't. Yeah. You're like, I don't know what grass is. What is this?
Yeah.
Green fluff all over the place.
Yeah,
What is
It's
that?
just a lawn decoration.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
little,
but like, oh wait, I thought that you meant like the toy. Oh, those are trolls. My bad. I thought that was
they look like little men with a little red hat and a pipe. They're cute. You know, you rub their head for good luck.
Yeah, no, I know that. I just like people collect them. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard
Yeah,
in my life.
well, it is stupid, but then again, I collect plastic toys as well, so who am I to judge?
No.
I would
At
have.
least that's cool.
I would have one. They're so kitschy. I would have one I have like a tiny garden, like the size of a sidewalk paver in front of my house, but somebody would steal it and break it. I know it. It would just be like some little punk kid would like take my good luck gnome and trash it. So that's not going to happen. So, and they're not touching my Amiibos. Oh man, just one last story on Amiibos. This is funny. You guys can appreciate this, and maybe our listeners too. I recently, my wife's, what would it be? I guess they're my nieces technically. It's my wife's brother's kids were here, so they're my nieces technically, but we never use that word. It's just like, hey, here come the twins. They're like little. They're like 3 years old. They come in here, I don't think to clean up because we don't have a lot of like little kids around this house ever. And like they come in charging in like 3. I don't. They're older than 3. They're probably like 5 now or whatever. They're running around and stuff. And
No
they're
way,
like,
they're terrible. We all know
yeah,
kids.
yeah. And guess what? They see like freaking all these amiibos sitting out. They see Wii Fit Trainer. They see Little Mac. They see like Ganon. They see like everything, and they go charging at it. And they're like grabbing them and like making them do little battles. And I'm just like like but I'm trying to hold back because I don't want to seem weird because it's like I'm supposed to be a grown up, so I'm just like I'm like all right, just be careful, little Mac doesn't bend that way, like that's like it was funny. I just like ended up giving him like Day and like Bowser because I was like they're so heavy you can't possibly break these ones and just like
you're like, oh, they're super common, you can get them anywhere, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was like, check the rarity. Like googling it on Amazon, which one is still available?
Yeah, I'm like taking Shulk upstairs. I'm like, oh no, you're not touching this stupid ass character from a game I don't even like. No way.
Like he might be worth $50 in a year.
Yeah. So that was my Amiibo story. It's funny. Here's the reminder. Here's your PSA for the week. If you have small children come to your house, hide the Amiibos because they think they're toys, and you're like, they're a collectible. Put them down.
Yeah. I totally know where you're coming from. I have 5 nieces and nephews that are like ranging from 4 to like 1 years old. And I have one room with my computer and like a bunch of my stuff. And what I end up doing is just moving the sofa in that room to block the door, like barricade it. I'm like, you're not touching my crap, and I'll have my Pro controller and gamepad like out in the living room, and I'll just put them on the couch there. I'm like, you can't reach it, so there's no chances of you like breaking this touch screen that probably isn't going to be alive that much longer.
Oh man, I couldn't handle it. I had like almost a conniption over freaking Amiibos. My systems, forget about it. Like they're too little to know what video games are, so they're not even trying to touch that stuff. So it's like, I'd have a conniption. I'd be like, what the hell?
I have one niece that just likes pressing all the buttons, and she'll like press the Wii one, or she'll, for crap's sake, touch the sound system, and I'm like, no, it's not surround sound. I don't know how to fix it. Come fix it.
Well, anyway, what else is going on in the news? What else is going on? So
speaking of news, it's like an hour in, we haven't bothered talking. There really isn't any news, which is fine because we talked for a bunch of other stuff. But I thought I'd pose a question. So there were rumors or things from people, whatever you want to call it, saying, "Oh, September, we'll hear more about the NX in September." And September came and went, and nothing came out of it. And now some people are saying, oh, October, there's stuff in October. And to be fair, at least to Emily Rogers, she was always saying, like, October. She didn't say September. But, I mean, there's a bunch of other people saying October, too. But we're kind of getting close to the point of no return because in November, the holiday shopping starts picking up and, all these games are going to be released, so all these advertisements for all these other games are coming out, and pretty much from November to March is busy now. Plus, people buy gifts and then they'll have money from gifts, and if they don't see ads for like this console, like they're not going to save up the money, they're going to spend it on that game by then, so they won't be able to buy it at launch if they wanted to. So I'm wondering, do you think the NX is going to be delayed? Because if we don't see a reveal in October, like any time after October, they're basically screwed.
I don't know. I was thinking November maybe. It's got to be something coming up.
Just today there was some. Just today I saw some like yet another. Like how many rumors are there about NX? Like there was another rumor that like October 21st rumors are circulating. Something's gonna happen on October 21st, and it's like I don't know. I personally. No, I don't think it's going to be delayed. I'll say it right here. I don't know why I think that. I don't have anything to back it up, but I don't think so. I think they are in a tight spot with marketing here that is like, we don't want to undermine Christmas, even though we don't have a lot to sell, but we can't go start talking about something that's a big deal too early. We want the buzz to still be hot. We want to drop it like it's hot. They're not going to wait till after Christmas. I don't know what the heck they're going to do. But they want to be the talk of the town for the shortest amount of time till when it comes out, because otherwise we burn off that energy. So I think they're gonna do a direct at some point yeah, like maybe within a month. I don't. Let me put it through the lens of being old school. Like I didn't grow up in a world where we had any idea when things were going to drop, like any advanced news. And that's old. You know, you hear that from every games journalist who's like my age and all that kind of stuff. Like these days, like, you know, it's like we grew up in a world where you went to the store, you had no idea what games were coming out when. You just had to call the store every single day. I swear to God, I was one of those kids that did that. That we called the department store near my house. Like I would call them every couple days, sometimes every day if it was a game I wanted, just like asking, can I talk to the electronics department? Can I talk to the electronics department? Like, and then you get on the phone with someone who knows nothing about Nintendo. It was the same story. I can still remember it like it's yesterday. And be like, do you have whatever crazy name game fill in the blank here, Blast Core for N64? Do you have that? You know what I mean? Like, and they're like, they can't even spell it, and they're going looking. They're like, no, I don't think it's here. And you're like, did you look in the Nintendo section? I'm like, I don't know. And you're like, what? Like,
you have to drive over there, and they do have it. And they're so dumb.
But I'm too little to drive. You know what I mean? So you're just like, you know, like, oh, I got to get my mom to take me to the store, and then I got to ask her for like $10 because I only have like $40, you know, and like all that stuff, you know. And I mean, so to me, maybe I'm just old school. Maybe I don't expect to know about a system like a year in advance, like, you know, because I'm just like, well, yeah, they'll tell us when they tell us, and that's how Nintendo rolls. You know what I mean? They're just like, well, we don't want to show it. We're not showing it. We're not coming to E3, and we don't care what you think. And we could give a crap less about all you people asking us questions. Like, we're not ready to show it. We got our own plans. Whether they're good plans or not, that's a different debate, you know. But I'm like, no, I think the silence, I still think the silence is them just doing their thing in the background. They're not worried about marketing right now. They're like, the marketing plans are being developed right as we speak in millions of meetings with like PR companies. But they're saying we're going to have this whole thing locked and loaded. And when we do that first roll, hopefully they're going to be able to show us 10 awesome games that come with the launch, you know, like blow us away and knock us over. And they're like, you're getting 5 ports, HD ports. You're getting 5 brand new games. And then we got these third parties lined up at launch window, you know, like, and they're trying to get it all in order. So the first show off isn't like, we have this new system and 3 games, and one of them is a Disney movie spin-off tie-in game, you know, like, you know, like they want it, I think they're trying to get it all locked and completely loaded. So it's like kaboom, you know, hit the internet running and like get everybody on their side. Cause, you know, you don't want to do this wrong. They can't afford to. They just can't afford to. They really can't.
Well, I think that's where my concern comes in of not doing it right, because there comes a point where you might be waiting too close, like, just because of the holiday season and all that, like, it's going to be so busy, so people are going to spend money, and then the thing will come out, and they'll be like, well, I already spent my money, so I'm not buying it for months.
If it was me, I would think they, like, just a counterpoint to that, I would think they'd be better to wait for Christmas to be over, because the Christmas hype's going to get in their way.
There's that,
and then
too.
Like, you know, and then be
That's
like,
that's what they did with the Wii.
You know, and then just take it over. Like January, you take over the news about video games. Nobody else is going to be doing anything in January, you know, and it's going to be like, we take over the news, you know, like everybody's got their PlayStation VRs now. Everybody's got their things going on, you know, like, and now we like drop this and get all the heads turning with whatever the buzz factor is about this system. Get all the news media looking at us because it's slow news time. It's January. The elections are over, like all this kind of stuff. You know, the news is wide open now, you know, and like, you know, hey, and springtime, Nintendo's coming with this new thing that you're going to have, you know, by then, you know, or whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, who knows, because just the announcement of Mario being on mobile, like, outpaced the whole PlayStation conference. Like, an hour conference was taken over by like a 5-minute announcement of like basically a game we've already seen before. So I could understand maybe thinking, okay, let's wait till all this stuff blows over, but I think people are so ready to hear about Nintendo, like they'll just latch on to stuff whenever they release it, regardless of other news. To be fair, the end of October, they are having an investors meeting, so even if they don't show off a video or anything, we'll at least get some sort of information about, I don't know, maybe when they'll announce it or etc. They're going to have to divulge something there. And they have given some, like a lot of news at some of their past investors meetings too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got more than just, okay, we'll have a direct on X day. So we might actually get something that's substantial then. Who knows? I'm wondering if the reason we haven't seen it is because they've actually had issues developing the console. So obviously, like, they've been developing it for years, so it may not be like totally going down the gutter or anything like that. But I mean, they've had so many different events that they could have shown off games for, and obviously they delayed it and said it's for more games and whatnot. But I think it's just weird that we've seen basically nothing of it at all. I don't know. It's possible they might have had issues getting the system together with certain aspects, I guess. And then they're like, well, we're not going to show it off because it's not perfect, so let's just say we're going to hold off. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, that's a worry. I mean, but and there's always that chance that you would get proved right, because it would be like, hey, that's the reason for the radio silence, and that they're not saying anything till they have a firm date of when they can move it to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to move a big project, you have to do the PR angle of the moving of the project and say, we're moving this to July, or something like that. They need to know July is the date, so I work in a fairly large, like, industry for my day job, where I'm on project teams of like quite literally like hundreds of people in some cases worldwide. Not trying to sound important. I'm just one cog in a wheel, but a lot of times you're literally sitting around waiting for other people to give you data, and then you've got to compile all that data. And it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm talking about. But I mean, it could be that you're right. I mean, if they're having if there is a major problem, and I don't think there is, but if there was, they wouldn't even be ready to talk about it, because they don't want to say a date. They don't want to say unknown, because that sounds horrible, and watch their stock tank. You know what I mean? They say, we're delaying it, but we don't know when. Well, you can't do that. That's no dice. You've got to say a date when you come to the press. You got to say June 1st is the date. We need 2 more months to make sure this is a quality experience that, everyone's going to enjoy. There's been some delays in getting all the whatever it is, whatever the holdup is, like, say what it is. Say, some of the software packages or some of the chips we need, aren't working out, in a timely fashion. We can't guarantee worldwide delivery, and we want to do that. So we're going to have to be able to push it back a little bit. So, there's always a chance, that they could even be sitting there counting the beans and figuring it out and being like, it's not going to happen, but we're not ready to say that. We at least have to come up with a press release so our stock doesn't go through the floor every time anything bad happens. Watch all these earnings from Pokemon Go fall right back out of our value, and all that stuff. But
actually, to add to that, I just remembered they didn't say a specific date in March. They just said March, and March is the end of their fiscal year, so it could also be seen as biding their time. Like, oh well, we have to give them a date, but we don't have a specific thing. Let's wait till the very end of our year, where we have to make make our yearly report or something. And then if we have to delay it, then we can say, oh, it's right at the end, we got to delay it, blah blah blah. So there's
interesting. I don't know how that stuff works, but I hear where you're getting at. You know what I mean? So that's an interesting thought. Yeah, geez,
it's like a kid waiting to the second last day of a book report and being like, oh, I need a couple more days on it. It's like, well, could you not have said that before? There's obviously something in the middle of that going wrong. But yeah, that's pretty much ends that segment, I guess you could call it. There's not much else other news. Have you guys seen the Beyond Good and Evil? So, well, I guess I shouldn't say it, but Michelle Ancel, who worked on Beyond Good and Evil and some other games, has been tweeting out images on his Instagram. I guess that's technically not tweeting if it's on a different service. But pretty much they're confirming Beyond Good and Evil 2 is coming out, just from some of the references they're making and some of the characters, like the pig is related to one of the other characters, and just a reference of a System 4 or whatever. Did any of you guys play Beyond Good and Evil?
I did not.
I have not either.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it really, other than it's been a game everyone's been talking about for literally 5 years about.
Yeah.
Nintendo is going to reboot it. And like, I think I researched it a long time ago. Is it a shooter? I don't remember
No,
even.
it's
Horror
been
game.
likened to Zelda, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about it, and I've never played it. What was the? Does anyone know what the original system was? Like, was it a PlayStation game or was
It
it?
was a multi-platform game.
Okay, yeah, that's what my gut was like. It wasn't like exclusive. No, if everybody wants it, it's one of those things where me as like someone a mono company follower, I want to say it like I only follow Nintendo mainly and like random retro stuff like Atari and things like that. Like I'm in that place where like with Bayonetta it's similar. If everybody else or if a significant number of people from other system universes, as I think of it, like are talking about it and wanting it, then I'm down because I'll trust everyone's judgment. So it's like one of those things where I'm like, well, this sounds like a game. Every time it comes up, it's like almost cultish. Everyone's like, dude, it's awesome. Good and evil, good and evil, good and evil. So some of the things that I'm definitely interested in seeing, especially if they can get some kind of a few more franchises in their stable, like getting the Bayonettas of the world, whether or not people love that stuff, getting it over here on Nintendo. We need more games, people. We need more series, so, I'm down, in concept at the very least. So, yeah. I did hear this week, like you were saying, but I didn't really research it. I had just seen it pass by me on a news feed or something.
Yeah, they're basically just showing off images. So it seems like I don't know if it's still an NX exclusive or not because that was the rumor that Nintendo's paying for Beyond Good and Evil 2 as an NX exclusive. So I guess we'll find out. The interesting.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Go.
It's unrelated. No, go ahead. I was looped back to an earlier conversation. So.
Okay, I was just gonna say, the interesting thing is if it is an NX exclusive, based off of the concept art, and I think one of them is possibly a model, it looks like it would be PS4 sort of power because of how like one of them is like a shark, and that looks closer to a model than concept art, and the other one looks like concept art. So I don't want to say for sure it's an actual like model, but the attention to detail that's in the images looks like you would have to have like current gen hardware to be able to run versus something weaker. So I think we might be getting something that could at least run ports and whatnot. Just as an interesting side note. Sorry, you were going to say something before?
Oh no, I was it was looping back to the release dates. I didn't want to steal the thunder from that, but no, I wait with anticipation for the good and evil stuff. Like I hope it's a game that's coming over. If people want it, I'm excited. I will support it because I'm big on supporting these kind of like one-offs that Nintendo when they try their hand at it and seeing if it's worth their time to be doing. Can't keep doing what they're doing and only making a Metroid game every 18 years or so. Will not be enough, friends. I was looking at like all of the Nintendo release dates throughout history, and from what I can see, are we expecting NX to be released in April or March? What is the word right now? It's March.
March.
Yeah. Then I mean, it has good company in terms of the quality of systems because there's almost no ever, from what I'm seeing at a scan, releases of an original Nintendo system in March ever. Like there's some like iterations like Game Boy Advance SP.
Yeah, I think like the 3DS originally launched in March.
You know your stuff, my man. I was gonna say it's got good credit. It was a terrible launch at first, is the way it goes, because there weren't enough games. But it's an incredible system, like that, like launch. So it's like, hey, it's good heritage, if they're gonna go for something like that. That like, it's sold, but it took a while to get running from that point on. But it got out the gate in March, So I was just looking at that, looking like what other systems ever came out in March. That's what I was basically looking at, like while we were talking about the release dates and trying to figure out, is there any, I mean, also the bad news is the PSP came out in March, but I think that sold okay.
No, the PSP sold well. The Vita's the best, right?
The Vita's the one that sucked. Okay, right. Yeah.
The PSP was like, what the hell is this amazing device? Because it played like UMDs that were DVDs, and it was an MP3 player, and it had the internet. It was like the first smartphone.
I've never played a Vita. Maybe one of these days, if I ever see one cheap, I'll buy it just for kicks, and play with it, a little bit. I
think Vita's more of a niche thing. Like I like a lot of JRPGs, so like it helps that I'm Japanese weebo trash. Like, that's what the Vita's mainly for, or other like indie games. You know, like I mean, it's great OLED screen, 2 sticks, great battery life. You know,
Yeah.
it's just I mean, no advertising and just bad luck. It literally just, like it's way better than the 3DS, but just terrible company stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
There's not enough room for 3 handheld universes like
Oh,
the
gosh.
mobile phone market, the 3DS market. You know, there just wasn't room for 3. That's all there was to it on that. That's screamingly obvious to me. I don't know what the attraction would be to a to a PlayStation Vita. Like that was always my question. I was like, well, what's it for? Like it doesn't have Nintendo on it.
Well, it was marketed as like a PS3 on the go, so like you could play PS3 level quality games on the go, but then at that
Yeah.
point it's like why
You can
not
play your
play it on the
PS3 and
TV?
PS4. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also
So-
play your PS on there, but then they made the PS Vita TV, Clay, which is like
Yeah.
$40. So that essentially killed the Vita.
Why? What? Explain just really in brief because our
So-
listeners probably I
It's-
don't.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Vita TV is it's a little package, like literally the size of it, it's smaller than a 3DS, and it does everything the Vita can. It plays the cards, it connects. You can actually use a PS3 controller with it. It connects with your PS4 through Link Play. It's literally just a home console Vita. That's all it is, and it's cheap.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. Like you could technically have 2 PS4s in your house.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember vaguely hearing about that. It's interesting.
So just to clarify, as far as the PSP, it sold 82 million units, so it sold actually pretty dang well, despite what people were saying about it.
Yeah, I think people just got confused because like PSP. Don't forget, PSP is super popular in Japan. Like until
Yeah.
the 3DS, PSP destroyed Nintendo DS and Game Boys and all that. Like even animes would only draw PSP. You know, like it was that like it's that big. Like the Vita's still pretty big in Japan, only because like that's how big the PSP's influence was, and especially like Monster Hunter and all that. Like the PSP I think it's still a great machine. Like it's because mine's hacked and I just play my Game Boy games on there. But like I just think like it's fantastic in every sense. Like it really was, and like it's crazy. Like Nintendo was actually really far behind, but because they were like the first actual portable gaming thing, like Game Boys were still popular. Like they still had that edge, but Sony was way ahead of them on that. Like the next step for portables.
Yeah. So just to put into perspective, the PSP sold 82 million units, and the Vita sold 4 million units.
Wow.
So
that qualifies as a drop right
Yeah.
there. Wow.
A lot of it was on Sony for making proprietary memory cards that were way too expensive, and they basically only supported it for like 2 years with games, and then just like dropped it entirely, like didn't mention it at conferences or anything else. It was basically just, if there's an indie game, it'll have it, but we're not going to do anything with it.
Yeah, and the problem, Clay, is like it's literally a micro SD, but it's not. It's only a Vita special memory card that's like $60 for like 8 gigabytes.
I remember hearing about that. That's like shoot yourself in the head. That's nuts. It's like, come on, you got to be a super fan to be willing to pay for that, you know? And I mean, that's going to cut so many people out of your market. That's just terrible. That makes me mad, and I've even heard it before, and I don't have any skin in the game. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you're out of your mind, you know? Like, come on. That's like Nintendo. The way Nintendo changes the plug on every iteration of like every 3DS or DS, if you have to get a new plug for it, like if you lose your AC adapter, you can't use the one from the last one. If they were charging like $80 for like an AC adapter, it'd be like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, you can't do that. Like, crazy. Like, it's just not.
That's the perfect analogy for it.
I'm interested in a PS TV just because there's a couple of Vita games that I'd like, but I think most of them have gotten like remasters or ports to PS4.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
What was the game? Oh, Tearaway was a great Vita game.
Tearaway, Gravity Rush.
Yeah, I think that game's overrated shit trash, but
It looks pretty
like,
cool.
yeah,
And there's a second one, so.
yeah, it's terrible. But I mean, I'm probably gonna get it. But yeah. I'm glad I got
Listen.
it for free. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. I paid for it. If I would have paid for it, I would have definitely hated it more. But since I got it for free, I only just dislike it. That's it.
Good to hear. So yeah, one interesting thing. So I won't really talk too much about Pokemon news because it's only me that really cares. But what I find interesting is that for once they're actually going to incorporate something from the TV show into the game. So Unoclay, obviously you don't know much about this, but a lot of there will be a couple of things in the TV show that aren't in the games just because of like plot reasons or just something to do with the story they just want to throw in there just to be like silly or whatever. Makes plot conveniences basically. For example, Greninja, you know who Greninja is. He doesn't have a mega form, and to compensate for that, they gave him like this other special form in the anime so he could actually like fight against other trainers that do have mega forms. It was just like a way to curtail the problem. But what's interesting is they're actually putting that form of Greninja in the actual game. And for whatever reason, I guess they usually want to keep these universes separate, but it's just interesting to see like, hey, we're going to put that form from the TV show in the game, even though we like almost never reference it at all. And it's even called the same thing, Ash Greninja, so it's referencing like the actual character too, so it's really interesting to see. Like, the same thing with Mewtwo. You would have hoped that he would have had like his armor from the Pokemon movie in like Smash Brothers, but he doesn't. And
That's what Sakura
I
said.
think it's like a whole either legal thing or they just want to keep the universes separate. So it's just really neat to see like them incorporating something from the TV show into this.
Definitely. I think Ash's Greninja is really cool. He's one of the mods I use actually in my Smash Brothers. So
Nice. Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, that'd be so cool. I gotta spend one day to figure out how to get the mods working.
you could just. I mean, I just downloaded the pack and I didn't make my own or anything. I just used someone else's. So like, I don't want to make my own, you know. But at the same time, I only know how to add music. So
Yeah, there's so many cool mods and people making like original stuff. Well, maybe not original, whatever, costumes and things. Like someone made a masked DDD I saw, or armored Mewtwo or armored Charizard or all these other things. It's really cool to see the community come and make that. But I think that about does it for this week. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And Mike, where can people find you?
Hi guys, you can find me at Troy Fullbuster on Twitter or Twitch or Gaming Night Live on YouTube. Thank you. Oh, Comic-Con this week, so yay!
Cool. You can't say that anymore. They're canceling the show.
Well, I think in my opinion, that show's not canceled. I think it finally at its end. When they went to space, Joey was like, "Dude, I think it's gonna end." You know, like, cause the movie was in space, you know, all the future. So he's like, "I think like this is probably gonna be it." And then like a month later, they're like, "Oh, it's not getting renewed." And I was like, I figured, like, you know.
Yeah. I have to catch up on that. I think I stopped at like season 5 or something. There's a lot to catch.
It's an easy catch up. It's an easy catch.
Excuse me. What?
It's an easy catch up. The show, like, it's just so easy to, you know.
Yeah, because they're only 15 minutes long, right?
Yeah, like 11 minutes, really, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, they're canceling a lot of shows. Well, canceling or ending a lot of shows. It's really weird. I wonder when we'll get new stuff to pick up. But that's
True.
Conversation for another day or podcast.
Hey, we'll give Gumball a chance. Gumball's a great show. So.
Okay. Unoclay, where can people find you?
Chowder! Chowder! It's Chowder! Say it right!
You can find me on the ever breaking down my IGN. There's 6 of us left, and we talk to each other occasionally. And that's all that I'm really doing on the internet these days right now. So catch you guys later. I will not be on the show next week, guys. Here's my way of telling you. Hey, Matt, I won't be around on next Monday night.
Okay.
All you listeners, I won't be here. So thanks for having me. Talk to you.
Alright, so wherever you're listening, you can find us at a bunch of websites. Just Google Just Another Castle. We'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.